All right. Welcome to the Catalyst Way, where we have conversations around unleashing the power of purpose and meaning to fuel transformative change in yourself and for others. And we're on episode 7. Is this episode 7 now?
It is. It is.
And today we decided that we're going to talk about challenges. Because one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is how do you overcome or how do you deal with challenges and whether you should even try to overcome them or not. So I'll give you an example, and Ivor, feel free to chime in. So I've been really big into workouts. Well, let me take it. I've been really big into goal setting, and I decided this year, probably about a month ago, I'm going to dump my goal list, except for one. And the goal list I decided to keep, or the goal I wanted to keep was, my 1,000 miles running, walking, walking, elliptical, and then 1,000 miles biking. Um, but what I've noticed is that this is the hardest year it's been for me to accomplish that goal. And I was wondering how come it's hard for me to get up in the morning and actually do a workout. Like this morning, I got up, put my workout clothes on, ready to go at 7 o'clock. And then the body's just like, I don't feel like it. And, it's like that was never a problem. That has never been a problem for me until recently. And then I started thinking about it and I said, I'm on two medicines for cancer, where one of the side effects is fatigue. I'm on a blood thinner where one of the side effects is fatigue. And I'm on one for cholesterol and one for cholesterol and one for diabetes, pre-diabetes, and both of them have side effects of fatigue. I'm taking 5 medicines that have a side effect of fatigue, and I'm sitting there wondering why don't I have motivation to work out? Now I did work out. It wasn't the greatest workout, but at least I got up. But I just want, this whole thing about challenges. It's just like I haven't had like this problem in the 25 years I've been doing these workouts in the mornings, and this is the first year where it actually has been a challenge. So I wanted to kind of talk about challenges because, we both have challenges in our lives, but I thought it would be interesting to get your take on it, especially as a personal trainer. You know, how do you get people through stuff that they know they need to do, but they don't feel like doing it.
Well, I think it's interesting that you started off the way that you did. And if I could just go back and ask one quick question.
Mhm.
Now, how do you feel about no longer going with goal setting? And what made you change your mind on setting goals?
So I'm not gonna. I read a book called Tiny Experiments,
Okay.
and in the book, she talks about instead of setting goals, which are very linear, where you either accomplish some or you don't, um, and the feelings attached to when you do accomplish them and when you don't. So when I was thinking about goal setting, I set goals. If I accomplish them, it's like, yay, and then it like wears off. But if I don't, I feel bad about it, and I feel bad about it for a while. Her frame is in the book, she talks about do everything as an experiment. So see if it's something that you want to continue, try it for 10 days. If it's something you want to continue doing, go for it. If it's not, then don't. But do it from a place of curiosity, not obligation. And goal setting always feels like this obligation versus I'm curious to see what this is like. So that's why I decided to dump. all of my goals except for the one.
And to hear you use the word obligation, because I think that is what where most people go when it in terms of goal setting, right? Someone walks into the gym and it's, I have a goal to lose X amount of pounds by this date, right? And it's usually as unrealistic as can be, but there's an obligation there, and it may be uh, wedding that's coming up or a high school reunion or whatever the case may be, that this is the reason why they've set this goal. And to go back to your point, it's, are you willing to step into that challenge? Right. And it's yes, at first, you may be, but to your point, what happens when there are mornings that it is a struggle and you don't feel like it and motivation to do it absolutely isn't there? Are you still willing to step into that challenge? And the flip side to that is, what do you do if you don't have someone who you're accountable to, such as a trainer that you're going to see, or someone that you may be working with on something, that there's an accountability portion in place? Are you willing to step into the challenge yourself? And I have found that for the most part, a lot of us as individuals aren't willing to go there. So it doesn't bother them to the degree that I hear you say it bothered you to not be able to complete your workouts. For a lot of individuals, it's okay, I didn't do it. I'll brush it off. I'm going to keep going, because you don't want to look in the mirror and really embrace what's going on as to why you're not willing to step into that challenge.
Well, I'm still going to keep working out. It's just not, I hate to say it's not fun, um, but it hasn't had the same kind of adrenaline flow that it used to. Um, but I also, part of this whole thing about challenge, goal setting and challenges and stuff, one of the things she talks about is being curious and being present. And I think what I'm trying to do now is just be present with the feeling that maybe you're just not ready right now, but maybe you'll want to do it later. But I can tell you when later comes, I don't want to do it later either. Like, I just don't want to do anything.
Right.
It's the same as like reading. Like, I know I want to read, and I'll sit there and I'll have the book next to me, and then I'll get on the internet and I'll watch this video, and then I'll watch another video, and then I'll watch another video, and then 3 hours are gone, and the book is still here. Um, and that is not like me. I've always been very focused, very directed, very ambitious, and now I'm just kind of like, ah. So it's, um, I have things that I want to do. I need to get back to what is an experiment I want to do this week. And I think I'm looking at, so one of the things I'm dealing with is partially torn rotator cuffs. So I'm actually doing some therapy around it. So this week I've been sticking to the therapy because I'm tired of, going to bed at night and wake up in the morning and my arms are killing me. Um, so I think I'm just going to work with that and do that for 10 days and just see what it's like and just leave it at that. So I think it's how to deal with the challenges. Um, and do they matter? Like, are the things that you want, do they really matter to you? That, I guess that's the real question. Does it matter? Um, so
I think it's yes, does it matter? And also, are you willing to go through what it takes to come out on the other side, because of how much it does matter to you. So think about it this way. How many challenges do we go through that are challenges because they've been imposed by someone else or something else versus I know I need to do this and I'm going to push through to make this happen. I think for many of us, it's us getting through the challenge because it was imposed by an external factor, an external force. It's nothing that we did on our own because for many of us, deliberate discomfort isn't where we're trying to go.
So, as a trainer, though, you know having an accountability partner matters, right? So if you have
Absolutely.
someone you're so when you have someone you're accountable to, you're more likely to get something done than if you don't. So I've always been very driven with internal. And I'm like, you know, has it disappeared or maybe has it just went on gone on the back burner or maybe I'm just reading too much and thinking too much about all this? I don't know. I would be curious on your take because you're really an accountability partner for lots of people.
And I wouldn't say that it's disappeared. I'll say this about accountability. Accountability works if you are willing to be held accountable. Otherwise, everything falls apart anyway. It's yes, you should show up, but just because you have an accountability partner doesn't mean that you always will, like you should. There's more of a likelihood that you will, but it doesn't make it foolproof. And also, unless you are willing to do everything necessary, you'll still skate by as much as you possibly can, only because you don't want to let this individual down, but you're still not going to give everything you should. So I've seen accountability not work as effectively as it could simply because the person who should be held accountable still recognize that even though I know I should, it's not what I really want, not yet anyway. So in that regard, it can sometimes still fall apart.
So is there something that you haven't that's a challenge for you that maybe it's something that you want to that's hard for you? Is there a challenge that's hard for you that um I didn't know if there's anything like that for you.
Well, I think it's along the lines of what we are sharing now, because I am in certain roles where a lot of people depend on me for certain things. I recognize that the challenge for me is knowing that I am doing everything I'm supposed to do to be the best that I can be for them. So it does require, like my relationship with you, for example, that accountability needs to be there for me to make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do, because there are days when, yes, I need to step into the challenge, but the challenge may get 50% because that's all I'm going to give you today if you leave it up to me. However, it's that accountability that's not just an accountability for the sake of an accountability that is going to challenge me in and of itself. So if I come to the table with 50%, I know I'm going to get looked at, and there's going to be a question about why is this 50%? Why are you bringing me this? This should be more, and it's supposed to be more, and you are capable of more. So let's do that. And that would be my challenge, which is why I think I and need the accountability that I have, because I think accountability is not something that should just be, you've done a great job, love what you're doing, pat on the back.
good day. I think accountability should also be the challenge is you could do more. This isn't your best. I'm going to pull the best out of you. Now let's get this done. And sometimes we shy away from that side of the accountability, but that side is really where so much of the magic happens. But again, if you're sort of shying away from challenges in general, then you're not going to like having someone in your space who issues challenges from that place.
And we were talking about this before we got on, because, one of the things that we value is our Tuesday meetings. And I think when we meet on Tuesdays, it's almost part of our, I don't want to say accountability meetings, but it's a place where we get to talk about things that we want to accomplish, things that matter to us, things that disturb. We have those periods of time. We have that period of time where we could really talk about stuff, and we haven't had that
Right.
for 4 weeks. And I think that has been a challenge in itself, not having that space to really go at it and really think about, what do we want?
Yes.
So you got to stop camp so we could have our Tuesday meetings back so we could start talking about all these wonderful things that are going to be coming up in the second
I'm
half of
on
the
it.
year. Um, so in a nutshell, I'm still going to keep working out. I know it's hard, but I got to do it. It's the one goal that matters to me. Um, but I have to give myself a little more grace. And
Yes.
that's the thing that I really need to focus on is grace.
Absolutely.
So anyone who's watching this, I think, if you're dealing with stuff, it would be nice for you to give yourself a little bit of grace and say, I might not get it done today. There's always tomorrow, and just go back and start on another day. So, any other thoughts you want to share about challenges and
I would agree with that. Grace matters. Please give yourself grace. Grace does not mean lazy, but yes, give yourself grace.
every day's not going to be perfect. So,
Right.
cool. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, we can call it a day. Didn't know where that was going, but I'm glad where it went. So, thank you for participating and sharing your thoughts. Um,
Absolutely. Bye for now.
all right, we'll see you.